After a chaotic dash to the station and finding our seats in the otherwise deserted carriage, we promptly crashed. Looking at the time, close to midnight, it's a little surprised that few takes this particular train. A few people. Hanako is fast asleep on Lily's shoulder. It's really cute. I didn't mention it because it was in between episodes, but this is really cute. Hanako is fast asleep on Lily's shoulder, and I can barely muster the energy to stay awake. This excitement had a while ago probably didn't help. That was on the same day? Jeez. I'd probably be pretty depressed about going back to school if my brain was actually working. As it is, though, the sight of the night-time scenery strolling by is surprisingly beautiful. My loud yawn is nearly wholly drowned out by this clacking of the train tracks and the old carriage rattling. So tired. And whose fault is that, Hisao? She really does toe the line between insulting and amusing sometimes, though I manage to wring out a reary smile. Goes right there. I look back out the window and my reflection, just visible on the clear pane. Truth be told, she's perfectly correct. Is it? No. It's kind of both our fault. If it weren't for that little interlude a few hours ago, both of us would have a lot more energy. On top of that, we both had to take another bath, very nearly making us late for the train's departure. Yeah, it was mine. But still, getting into the bath with a guy is a dangerous thing to do. Evidently. Sorry, guess I took advantage of the situation back there. Hanako is right there. Shut the fuck up. Let her sleep. Well, I didn't exactly hate it. As she trails off, I look back to her. My eyes narrow as I see her slightly reddened cheeks and small grin, her mind obviously elsewhere. Say it. I knew the possibility of it happening was there. I knew it. You're just as dirty-minded as I am. She quickly coughs into her free hand, making her disapproval crystal clear. That's a rather crude way of putting it. Oh, and you would suggest I merely have a healthy adolescent sex drive. So, in other words, dirty-minded. Almost seeing to sense the moment, Hanako mumbles quietly as she furrows her brow at Lily's lap. Can you guys shut the fuck up? I'm trying to sleep. Lily's look of disapproval melts away as she gently smiles and strokes the hair on Hanako's long, dark hair of her hand. All I can do is watch and smile. If someone were to ask me when I fell in love with her, I wouldn't be able to answer. The best I'd be able to come up with is it just happened at some point, but I didn't realize it. I knew exactly when it happened. It was the episode titled Falling in Love with Lily. You clearly, turned on the emotion right there. If somebody asked me to why I loved her, though, then I could answer much more easily. You really love Hanako, don't you? She gives a deep nod, smiling warmly. I gotta move my legs, dude. Talk about school, talk about Hanako. Interesting. It's a pity we have to return to school. She seemed to relax so much while we were away. I don't think either of these matter because we're already, with Lily, right? Surely neither of these will give us a bad end, but I want to talk about Hanako. I wouldn't worry. Hanako's been gaining confidence thanks to you, at least for as long as I've known you two. She seemed to relax so much while we were away. Okay. Don't worry, yeah. She gives a self-deprecating sigh. I think I merely provided her with company and support. Since she came to know you, she's opened up much more, even to me. I get the feeling... Sorry, that's me. I get the feeling she's understanding her influence on Hanako, especially given that the two came to know each other. Hanako had no friends to speak of. The friends I'd have in my previous school fulfilled what I'd to have expected of them, for the most part simply being there for idle chatter, but in Hanako and Lily, there really feels to be more to their relationship. Part of me envies it, but another can't ignore the fact that the school year will eventually end. After graduation, I really have no idea what Hanako will do. This trip has shown me just how much we've all come to depend on one another. Indeed, we're all going to have to make decisions. Maybe that's the reason why. Despite our return to school, also heralding a return to normalcy of everyday life, I can't help feeling a little restless. On the bright side, it won't take too long for summer holidays to arrive after our exams are finished. We could come back here during our summer holidays if you want. For a moment, she thinks on the notion, her face becoming somewhat distant. I can only guess she's reflecting on all that's happened here. That would be good, I think. I nod approvingly, smiling at her. Summer together with Lily. The idea seems like a perfect way to spend our holiday. After the excitement of our trip to Hokkaido, it seems strange to be right back to the usual daily routine so soon. Indeed, it feels like a normal day, same as any other. Well, that's what I'd like to think anyway. To tell the truth, the atmosphere of the entire class, no, the entire school, has changed. While an undercurrent? While an undercurrent of subdued trepidation had previously pervaded the class. I don't know where they get this from. Every once in a while, they just get like one sentence of like a million long words. Undercurrent of subdued trepidation had previously pervaded the class. Now, the now that the exams are in sight, it's boiled over into frantic studying rarely seen otherwise. One day until exams start. It's horrific, really, that instead of studying, we went and wasted our time up north. We were such model students, too. Glancing around the class, even the bubbly, ever-energetic Misha seems oddly deflated. She sits at her desk, nervously chewing a pen while Muto lectures from the front of the class. Wait, on closer inspection, I do believe she's eating it. Tearing my eyes away from this sorry spectacle, I turn my attention elsewhere. Hanako sits frantically, scribbling in her notebook, her face merely inches away from the page, seemingly trying to record every word that leaves Muto's mouth. Shizune's, well, Shizune. Cool as a cucumber, she sits diligently taking notes with her attention wholly focused on the front of the class. Truth be told, it's what I should be doing as well. It's not for the fact that I feel like I have a pretty good handle on what's being covered already. I wonder how Lily's doing. While she does have a good head on her, she has plenty on her plate, unlike me. Her class representative duties, taking care of Hanako, her other social contacts, and her extra English studies. That girl really does take on a lot. We used to take drinks during the bells. Those were the good old days, remember, guys? The intro. Insane. Lunchtime bell brings. The lunchtime bell brings a sigh of relief from the entire class, Muto being no exception. I get the feeling he much prefers the more laid-back atmosphere of his normal classes to the frantic pace of exam preparation we're subjected to right now. Hichan? Help me. I lower my eyelids to half-mast, making clear my intention of doing quite the opposite. Help me, help me, help me. Not going well? Shishan's gonna be fine, but I think I might die. Am I gonna die, Hichan? Will you let me die from all this work? How maudlin. Given the fact she's neither the brightest student in the class nor the most diligent, isn't it a great surprise that she's finding it hard to cope with the workload? Sorry, Misha, but I got my own work to do. I thought you and Shizune would be studying together over the long weekend. Studying's too boring to waste a holiday on, Hichan. Shopping together was much more fun, wasn't it, Shichan? It's only now that I realize Shizune has been looking over to us and that Misha's arms have been moving likely all this time. I must be really zoned out not to have noticed. What's it with girls and shopping anyway? Even Lily and Hanako have dragged me out with them a couple of times. But you went anyway? It's so rare to see a guy like that likes going shopping. Well, my role would probably be best described as pack mule. I can't say I share your enthusiasm about the experience. Back to the exams. You studied after you got back from days off, didn't you, Shizune? Of course you can. It's only sensible to study in the days before. Misha makes a sound vaguely similar to a dying cow as she realizes her folly and unceremoniously flops onto her desk, betrayed even by her best friend. Judging from Shizune's quite frustrated look at Misha, she probably told her to study as she did. Don't worry, you can still gain some grades if you start studying now. Maybe. Misha does not seem overly amused. It seems the bubbly balloon of everlasting cheerfulness has been crudely popped. Shizune's signing goes unnoticed by the moping Misha, earning her a quick poke in the shoulder. It takes barely a moment for Misha to get back into form. So, what did you do over the weekend, Hichan? Just took a trip up north with Lily and Hanako. It was pretty nice. I see both of them narrowing their eyes at me, their minds surely in the gutter. The fact that their suspicions are founded makes the situation all the more awkward. We just studied and went sightseeing. There's nothing more to it. After such a flagrant lie, I realized that it might not have been the best step, considering Shizune's connections to her total lack of restraint when it comes to questioning someone suspects of telling untruths. I really have no idea how she's going to take it, but she'll find out eventually anyway. It isn't as really her business whom I date in any case. And yes, Lily and I are going out now. While Misha receives the news with an enthusiastic smile, Shizune gives a look of mild surprise, somewhat masked by her cool demeanor. Every date is your business, and I hope you two go well with each other together. Misha gives a look at Misha gives a look that says this is the most quarter I could possibly receive on the matter. That's all I wanted, really. After she says this, though, Shizune begins to sign something else, then stops herself and shakes her head at Misha to prevent her from translating. Normally I think this is strange enough, but awkwardly casual way if Shizune gives before walking off with Misha in tow adds to my confusion. Shizune is hardly the kind of person to pull a punch or communicate without forethought. I don't know if this is just me assuming, it is me just assuming Shizune, but I think Shizune is the only person who has been into us. Like genuinely without contact, like without having to go down her route and like making them realize that they love us. I think Shizune has always been actually really into us, because there was that time we were dating. It was either Hanako or Rin, but it was one of those. It was one of the first ones. Hanako or Rin, and then she was like really upset that we were dating them, or like seeing them or something. I think it was Rin, but yeah, I think Shizune is actually really into Hisao, and it's kind of sad having to confess to her like this. I shrug my shoulders at the duo's odd behavior and look towards Hanako's desk, but see that her chair's empty. She was definitely here before, so I guess she didn't feel like waiting. I'll go grab some food, alone, then. Walking down the hallway to the unused room that's become a second home to the three students in particular, I mournfully look down at the plastic-wrapped salad roll and juice box in my hand. The cafeteria's food is really unappetizing. Maybe I'll consider this my penance for my recent indiscretions. Opening the door, I notice one less quiet figure than I'd expected. Just Lily. It's strange, despite having known Lily for months, I can't help thinking back to the very first time I opened this door and saw her silently sitting in the sunlight. Just as she did then, she slowly opens her eyes, unmoving as they are, and calmly addresses me. Good morning, Hisao. It's afternoon, I think. Has Hanako been around? She skirted off a class without me even noticing. Lily cradles her cheek thoughtfully as I take a seat, my bag taking its place against the closest leg of the table, my unsatisfying meal nearly set out in front of me. She did appear for a time. She said she had to study for the upcoming exams and left for the library. We find ourselves not entirely believing her words. Well, at least her intentions are in the right place. She is sweet, but she didn't go this far to let us have our space. I might talk to her about it sometime. Probably for the best. For a while, we quietly eat our meals, Lily elegantly nibbling on her sandwiches and sipping her tea as I eat what tastes like a garden sandwiched in dry dough. Ugh. This atmosphere feels slightly strained, neither of us knowing quite what to say to each other now that our small talk has dried up. Eventually, we both finish our food with no conversation forthcoming for quite some time. Eventually, though, Lily's soft voice breaks the silence. A lot happened back there, didn't it? Sorry, I need to stretch. Ugh. I've been working out lately, so my body's like in pain. I feel all of my muscles like strained. A lot happened back there, didn't it? Again, silence with both our minds in the same topic, though I think I have my feelings on that sorted out. I know everything happened in kind of a hurry, but I don't regret anything that happened in Hokkaido. Not one thing. Just how? Slightly tense, I take her hands in mine, have to feel her, have to settle my own nerves. I stand by my words back there, Lily. I love you, and I won't leave you. I only wish that you think the same. She silently reflects for a long time, which feels like an eternity. Her reverie comes to an end as she takes one hand from mine, placing it over them as she leans her body forwards and stands out of her chair. After a moment's hesitation, her face slightly pensive, her lips meet mine for a brief moment. My mind feels as if it briefly stopped at the moment, barely registering Lily sitting in the back of her chair and smiling back at me, ever so slightly red in cheeks. Hearing that makes me very happy, so I would be glad to stay with you. Maybe it would be good to slow things down a bit. Compared to before, we still have school, after all, and our exams. She gives a mischievous giggle, which proves to be contagious. That might be a good idea, indeed. You think you'll fare well in your exams? It's only one day until they arrive, as you say. I probably should have studied more, but I think I've got a good enough head to manage. That said, I had to bat off Misha and Shizune. Is your class as worried about the exams as mine? She lets out an exasperated sigh, all but confirming it. I'm thankful for the atmosphere becoming a bit lighter. I think so. I've already been asked to help by 2 of my classmates, and there'll no doubt be more. Think of it as your first training in being a teacher, maybe. That is probably a good way to think of it. On that note, how are you faring in your English studies? I remember it was far from your strongest subject, and the few sentences you memorized to speak to my mother aren't likely to help. Damn, right on the mark. You got me. If you don't mind, would you possibly be able to help in that regard? Please? It would be my pleasure to help you, Asao, but in exchange... She lowers her eyebrows at me, her coquettish nature tentatively coming to the fore. No problem at all. You'd probably be better off with some help in your studies, though. She beams a smile at me, one of girlish victory that nearly makes me blush. I get the feeling she's aware of how to use her face to twist my judgment, so I should probably be more on my guard. Here and now, though, a study group seems like an expedient way for both of us to shore up our lacking skills. The school bell rings out, reminding us that time isn't going to stand still. Lunchtime's over already. Sure is easy to lose track of the time here. This room's so far from the other clubs and activities, not much sound can reach us. That's probably most of the reason why. A place far from the others, alone with one person whom she loves. As Lily stands and collects her bags and cane, my thoughts are cast back to the time we spent in Hokkaido. Before I go, Akira and I are having a homecoming party in my room tomorrow. Will you be able to come? And back again. My schedule is free, so I should be able to make enough room in my study time to make it. Good to hear, Hisao. For what it's worth, I'm glad you're back from Scotland. Once exams are over, we should have more time to ourselves. Holidays start soon after, too. And we study the holidays with Tanibata then. Just as we promised at the school festival. I don't remember that at all, but I guess it happened. She brings her hand near to her cheek and laughs silently, nervously, recalling the event as I silently thank myself for managing to remember. It seems odd to see her reaction in such a way, though. It's not like I never saw her embarrassed before. I'd better be going. Farewell, Hisao. Bye. Whether it's out of habit or just out of stubborn desire out of one small fragment of normality, I hold my hand up in farewell just as I always do. At least I'm consciously aware of that I'm doing it now. I think I'm beginning to see a bigger picture than I ever have before, not only with Lily, but also my life ahead. The chains of my past are finally breaking. Damn. We're getting there. Getting closer to the end, lads.